Viewpoint from Overseas. I'm your host Faraz Darvesh. Before we begin our show, an unfortunate incident that took place in Pakistan, a flight crash in Chitral. This is something I think we would like to discuss, and I'm personally hurt because an icon of Pakistan who's I guess known to everyone in Pakistan. One of my favorite, Dil Dil Pakistan, belongs to him, and it's been an unfortunate incident. We lost about 47 people in this flight crash, including Junaid Jamshed. Junaid Jamshed was dear to many of my generation. Dear to the heart of a lot of people in my generation, including he is the founder of pop music in Pakistan, and he was the first one, who kind of led the movement of pop music in Pakistan. So obviously, many are hurt, including myself. So we will discuss that, what happened, and how should we remember Junaid Jamshed. There are two different opinions. He later became a religious icon. So let's discuss Junaid Jamshed, and then after that we will discuss Heart of Asia. So Heart of Asia, which happened last week. There are two separate opinions about what happened in Heart of Asia in regards with Pakistan. Opinion number one is Pakistan got insulted. This is many in Pakistan believe the representatives of Pakistan did not receive the proper treatment in India. The opinion number two is Pakistan was fairly treated, and many other international representatives think that Pakistan basically won the show. So what is next that comes after Heart of Asia? We have our panel with us, Riaz Haq Sahab, thank you for joining, Ali and Samantha Sahab. So let me begin with you, Riaz Haq. Junaid Jamshed, when I was in school, definitely Dil Dil Pakistan, Adbar, and various different songs were dear to my heart. And later, when he converted, not converted, but when he became a religious icon, all his naats were dear to my heart. How do you see this?
Yeah, I think Junaid Jamshed was iconic in more than one ways. Obviously, he was a very popular singer. He rose, and his group Vital Signs rose at a time when Pakistan was the entertainment, the music scene in Pakistan was essentially plunged in darkness because of Ziaul Haq's ban on music. Particularly on the state media. In fact, there was only one television channel, PTV, at the time. And the interesting story I heard about it was that they were able to persuade the PTV management and Ziaul Haq to let them play this song Dil Dil Pakistan on Pakistan television, because they persuaded them that this is a national song, this is a patriotic anthem. That's how they got it into the show. The people that came out of this movement, in fact, I would call this a movement. This is sort of like the early days of Pakistani pop music. People like Shoaib Mansoor, people like Rohail Hayat. All of these people were associated with Vital Signs. So it produced a significant talent pool, which has carried on the music scene in Pakistan. And today, you see Rohail Hayat, for example. He's running this Coke studio, and he's one of the key people there. And they have been able to create a kind of a blend of both Eastern and Western music. And present it in a very they've been able to experiment with a lot of different instruments.
Let me put it this way. I personally think he wasn't just leading the movement in Pakistan. It was a movement in South Asia. Even Indians were behind us, behind Pakistan in pop music back then. Alisa Samantur, how do you see this?
No, I think this is not correct to say that he was the pioneer in pop music, because I think the undisputed pioneer was Nazi Hassan. Much before them. It was very unfortunate that these people died in this plane crash. And the main thing is that it was not one Junaid Jamshed that died that day. It was two very different Junaid Jamsheds, who died that day. And one of them was very different than the other one. And now people, the mourners, they are either they are owning one Junaid Jamshed or the other. In fact, there's a tussle. So they are saying that the Junaid Jamshed that the people want to celebrate for the songs is not the real Junaid Jamshed, and Junaid Jamshed would not like to have his legacy celebrated in this way by.
By playing a song.
Yeah, which is
That is a
Right.
right wing or religious
yeah.
opinion.
So in a
Yes.
way, you can say that Junaid Jamshed is itself. Junaid Jamshed's story is the story of Pakistan, is the story of confusion. The confusion is, where do we go? What do we think is modern? What do we think, we should take as our path? Is the religious path, of some archaic ways? Is that the way, we should live our lives, or is it that music is fine and the modernity is fine? So that confusion was that you see in Junaid Jamshed is pretty much all over in that country that you are seeing.
But Riaz, how do you see this?
Yeah, I think it's true that he represented the transformation that occurred in Pakistan,
Right.
sort of a rightward movement shift in society after the 1980s, and he actually represented both phases of it. The first phase was, as a pop artist, and the second phase as a religious icon.
Right.
He became a very popular figure as a religious figure. But these transformations happen. I mean, this is not unusual. I mean, look at Allama Iqbal, his life. He started with being a nationalist, and he wrote, Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara Muslim, and hum bulbule hain iski ye gulstan hamara. That's what he wrote before, in the early days. And then later on, he transformed into a pan-Islamist. And then he wrote things like Chino Arab Hamara, Hindustan Hamara, Muslim Ham Watan Aisa. So these things happen in people's life. But the bottom line is that what his legacy, obviously it's a mixed legacy, but the part of the legacy that has to do with music continues on in Pakistan. And I think
it should, right?
It should, absolutely.
Right.
And what we see in Coke Studio, essentially some of the same people, the other
Roy
part of
Riyad
it-
is leading the Coke
yeah,
studio.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
The other person that's important here is Shoaib Mansoor.
Right.
Shoaib Mansoor actually then produced a movie.
Right.
He was so upset with the fact that Junaid
Junaid changed,
Jamshed
right.
quit music, and he became he turned to religion, and he completely abandoned music. That he actually created a movie called Khuda Ke Liye, which essentially captures the story. I mean, not exactly.
And he wanted Junaid to play the role of Nasiruddin Shah.
Yes. But Junaid had already changed his mind, and he was on the other side now.
Right.
So I think this is what represents how Pakistan changed over time.
Represents. Did you meet Junaid after his transformation?
No, I did not.
Did you? So I met Junaid after his transformation, and the Junaid I found was an enlightened scholar. He wasn't the scholar with a narrow tunnel mind who's stuck in his sectarian association. He was over and above the sectarianism. He was over and above these religious boundaries. He was a religious scholar, but he was open to have a debate or go to churches or go to mosques belonging to the other sect, and he did that. He did that in England. He did that in Pakistan, and he was actually leading the movement with Wasim Badami, where he wanted to create the sectarian harmony. And this is the other side of the Junaid Jamshed. So he did not transform into a radical religious scholar. He transformed into an enlightened, moderate religious scholar. So
not quite, because I think this whole idea of open, somebody being open mind and religious, these are oxymorons. You cannot have it both ways, because religion is a very dogmatic thing. It does not allow free inquiry of things. You cannot just have a scientific thought in religion. So that's why Junaid Jamshed was controversial at two levels. First, he was controversial because he changed his path, and second, then he went and he read things and he said things about historical figures which people within that group, religious group, did not like.
Those were the extremists. Those
Yeah,
were the
actually,
extremists.
there-
Not,
there
You can
is
call
a-
it whatever. But
There
does
is
not matter.
a
Yeah.
concept in Islam that is promotion of virtue and prevention of vice. Amr bil ma'roof wa nahy anil munkar. Now, the people that are in the Tablighi Jamaat, the part that he was in, are more focused on what they see as virtue, promotion of virtue. They're not using violence or force to stop what they consider vice. So that is the difference. So in that respect, he was a more moderate, more enlightened person. He said, yes, we should promote what we see as virtue, but we don't need to compel people to stop doing what we consider vice. So I think that is the positive angle here to take.
No, I don't think he was very enlightened, because were he enlightened, he would go after the real spirit of the religion, which is that he would think of how to make the place where he was living a better place.
Oh, he did. He
No,
tried.
he did not.
He tried. He led the movement to clean the
No,
Karachi.
To some extent, but did he?
He led the movement to create.
He was a creative person. He
was a
started
creative-
a fashion business.
You know that,
He
okay.
created a whole chain,
Okay, do
J-Dot.
you know he became the general secretary of Jafriya Disaster a Shia organization, and he went and became the general secretary of that organization.
Yeah.
So he.
He did things which would. I'm sorry to say that he's dead, but whatever promoted him, he did.
No, I don't think so.
And it promoted him.
Oh, he could have chosen something
he
else.
could have
to do.
chosen
He
something
was
else.
a celebrity.
He was a celebrity.
But the main thing is this, that with Tablighi Jamaat, because he was an active member of that, this is the whole thing, that what do you think Islam is? Is it just the rituals? Is it the ostentatious nature of how people should live their lives? Or is it something deeper? Should they make a society more judicious, more a place of justice where people
Obviously, he
so,
could not have
I
done
think
it
you
all
don't
by
have to
himself.
philosophically agree with
so
philosophically
what I'm saying
agree
is
with
that
him.
so that's
But I don't think he could have done it all alone. I mean,
But it's
come on,
important to
it wasn't his-
understand
it was-
that,
yeah.
that he was not on the
Radical
violent
side.
or the force side
Right.
of the story. He was more willing to accept what others did. And he basically preached what he thought was right, which is okay with
Which is
me.
okay. Yeah.
which is
I don't ever agree with what he thinks is right.
Yeah.
But he at least
Did you ever
nobody's
see him?
saying that we are agreeing or disagreeing with that how he should
I mean, you're
whatever-
passing a value judgment on him, and you're
most
basically
definitely,
saying
because we have our own opinion. How can we not pass a judgment on this is what we think, that if somebody who was a cultural icon, if they change and they become religious, we would think that they would try to bring the best parts of the religion so that we would have a better
which in your view are the best parts.
What is
he had a different view
okay,
of what
is the best part?
parts.
Tell me.
Yeah. So
what is the best part that you
the
think?
best part of the part of the religion is, as you said, that he was into making the city cleaner. But the thing is, I just went there a couple of months ago. I was in
Well,
Pakistan.
obviously, he
Does
became
that-
a pressure group.
But trying to do
Are you going to
something
hold him
doesn't mean
responsible?
that
Are
you have to succeed. I mean,
Are
he
you
tried.
going to hold him responsible, or the municipal organization of Karachi, or the
No.
CM of Karachi?
This is very simple for us. Whenever I saw him on TV, did I see him reciting Naat, or going and telling people how to live a clean, how to have their neighborhoods clean and clean the streets and not litter on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
Did I see that? No. I saw him preaching. I saw him, reading Naats. So it was obvious where his emphasis was. So you can tell me many times that he was involved in these grassroots movements and he was trying to do this and do that. But no, that's not what I saw.
Well, okay. I mean, we let's take it. Razak, I think you have something to say.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
not
it's
really-
like saying that Imran Khan, should not have just been playing cricket on
He
television.
should have become Abdul Sattar Edi.
That he should have become
Are you-
Satarivi,
Yeah.
and he should have entirely focused on
Right.
on developing hospitals and clinics and those kinds of things. So I think if people have different aspects to their
Well,
personality.
don't
and
you-
the
don't you
different things.
appreciate
the
him?
celebrity? It was what gives them the ability to do other things, which he did.
Well, don't you think?
But he did it
doesn't
in
he
negative
deserve a
ways.
credit?
Yeah, so
for
he
leading
tried he used it.
leading a peaceful movement to bring peace and harmony between
He was not doing that.
between the sects in Pakistan.
No, he was not
Yes,
doing that.
didn't he counter
Huh.
the extremism narrative which says
I
that
did not see. I did not
let's
see,
divide on the basis of sectarian boundaries.
Yeah, even if he tried,
Okay,
he was not effective in in any of that.
Okay,
But what we saw, which was more of anachronistic, view of how these societies, the religious societies, operate. which is have a beard, not have mustache, the kind of the whole
Right.
kind of outfit that make people believe that you are Muslim and that you are a good Muslim
Right.
in some
Okay.
people's eyes. Yeah.
Audience, let's move to Heart of Asia conference topic. Riaz, let me start with you. How do you see what happened in Heart of Asia and what is next? There are two opinions. Which opinion do you support?
I think the more important thing for me is how the situation was presented by Prime Minister Modi and President Ghani, and how the other delegates see it. For example, both Mr. Modi and Mr. Ghani essentially hijacked the conference and they used it to ambush Pakistan.
Okay.
But the other delegates saw through this, particularly what the Iranians said. The Iranian foreign minister said, we want to help mediate the issue, because they saw it. Instead of being addressing the issues about Afghanistan, it became kind of a bilateral forum for them to hash out their fights. The big part of it is, while Mr. Modi and Mr. Ghani were attacking Pakistan, the the U.S. commander in Afghanistan, General John Nicholson, was blaming Iran and Russia of supporting the Afghan Taliban. Okay. So it's interesting that these guys were apportioning the entire blame to Pakistan, while at the same time General Nicholson was saying Iran and Russia are supporting the Taliban. Now, at the conference, there was a Russian diplomat by the name of Zamir Kabulov, who's very intimately familiar with the issues. What he was arguing at the conference was very interesting. What he was saying was that the Taliban, he described Taliban as a predominantly a national military political movement. It is local, Afghanistan-based. They believe they should have, from their perspective, fair share in the government of Afghanistan. Okay? So he was actually defending the Taliban in a way and saying...
So are you saying that Pakistan won the show in a way?
No, I'm not saying... The issue is not whether Pakistan won or lost, but what was the outcome of the conference. Okay? Then he went on to talk about some other things. For example, one of the things he said was that
so let's move to the...
it's a very important part of it. Yeah. Some people say, and I remember some Indian officials in the recent past were believing, this is Kabulov, that Daesh is something which is not an immediate threat to India as it is in Afghanistan and maybe Central Asia or Orient. So what he's arguing...
What is the high level of this?
What he's arguing is that the spread of ISIS is a much more serious threat to the region than the presence of Taliban. Taliban are a local force, whereas ISIS are more international, and they're willing to create all sorts of trouble in the neighborhood. So we should focus on making sure that the ISIS is defeated in the area.
Ali Hassan, what do you see of this?
So, first of all, let's remember that the Heart of Asia conference was not about Pakistan or India. The Heart of Asia conference is about the development of Afghanistan.
Right.
And for that, about the development of Pakistan, I think that probably the name Heart of Asia is not right. It should be Brain of Asia, although it is Heart of Asia because it's where the thing that it's almost the central location. But the main idea is that, that people have to decide what is development. What does development mean? Because right now this is the whole thing, because what the Afghan president said was that before even any development comes, there should be no terrorism in...
There should be peace.
Yeah, it should be peace, and which is absolutely the
But one thing I want to bring the clarity on, did he reject the $500 million aid from Pakistan?
Yeah, so I have to, Faraz, look at the real transcripts of the conference. I have only gathered...
Riaz, did he reject the 500
when he said that this would be better used in fighting terrorism...
Right, but it's not a rejection.
Well, it's sort of saying, hey, you can keep this money and do what we want you to do rather than give it
Well,
to us.
but is it a fair ask, right? We need peace.
I don't think
They
it's
need
a
peace.
fair ask. I think there's the implicit in this is the assumption that Pakistan is responsible for all
But
of
isn't
the
Pakistan
terror.
responsible for funding or
No,
protecting
no.
Afghan Taliban?
No, actually, let me tell you. Just last month, in October, actually, this General Petraeus was speaking at an event in London. It was an event organized by Royal United Services Institute, which is a think tank, and what he was saying was that there is no evidence that Pakistan is supporting the Afghan. Let me finish.
But
okay?
let me come to him because he needs
So
some
I
time to...
looked very hard then. This is what he responded to.
Just
a
tell us
question.
high level.
Yeah.
Tell us high level. I mean,
let me quote
you
him.
can read it, but tell us a high
It's
level.
important that
Tell us
I
a
quote
good-
him directly. He said, I looked very hard then as U.S. commander in Afghanistan and again as CIA director at the nature of the relationship between the various militant groups in Fatah and Balochistan and the Pakistan Army and the ISI. And I never was convinced of what the journalists alleged about ISI's support of the militant groups in Fatah. So what he's saying is that, you see all these reports, all these journalists making accusations, but I, as a CIA director and as a commander, didn't see any evidence to support that.
But then the same Mike Mullen, same General Petraeus earlier said that Pakistan has been supporting militants.
Petraeus never said that.
Sartaj Aziz himself accepted that yes, we've been protecting Afghan Taliban.
Let me explain to you. What he has said, and this is something that Petraeus acknowledged as well, he said they have contacts with them, okay? But context is something that any intelligence agency would do as a part of their normal work. The second thing that he mentioned is that the Pakistanis are tolerating them because of the limitation of their forces, that they cannot do it. So I'm talking about a person now. I'm not talking about Mullen or anybody else. I'm quoting to you the person that served in Afghanistan. He was right there on the ground. And later on, that same person became the director of the CIA. And he's saying that all these reports are false.
But have you heard Michael Hayden?
I've heard a lot of people.
They clearly say...
No, they don't say that.
Michael Flynn, they all clearly say that Pakistan has been involved in terrorism.
That's the difference. What you don't understand is that what they say is that they want Pakistan to act against the Haqqanis and the Taliban. Okay? That does not mean that Pakistan is supporting them. All it means is that Pakistan needs to actively go after and kill them.
So why did Sartaj Aziz
understand the difference? He didn't say that we're supporting them.
That's what he clearly said.
No. He said
Sartaj Aziz clearly said that yes, they've been living in Pakistan.
Living in Pakistan does not mean Pakistan is supporting them.
Well, they are protecting them. I mean, we can get into the definition of
that is not true.
Ali, I would like to hear from you.
Look.
Let's hear from Ali.
There is a difference between actively backing an organization and tolerating it because you don't know what else to do with them.
Ali, what is your take on this?
Yeah, so I think that, he said this and she said this.
Oh, this is David Petraeus. It's not he said, she said.
Yeah.
This guy was a commander on the ground in Afghanistan, and then he was the director of the CIA. This is not some he said, she said.
But Michael Mullen said otherwise, so let's hear from him.
Yeah. Which country has the longest land border with Afghanistan?
Pakistan.
Of course. Where do you see people of that kind who want to overthrow the government of Ashraf Ghani, with those religious ideas? Where do you see them? Do you see them in Tajikistan, in other neighboring countries? Where
do you know that Iran is supporting the Taliban now?
Let him finish.
Do you know that Iran is supporting the Taliban now?
Let him
Iran
finish.
is a Shia state,
Why are they supporting them then?
Let him
First
finish.
of all, this whole thing can be argued about.
Yeah, this could be argued, but let him finish. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, finish
So
it.
what I'm saying is that this whole thing that at one time was the doctrine of Pakistani army.
But that was in 90s.
No, just one
I'm
second.
talking about post
No,
9/11.
I'm talking about something else. The strategic depth that is now being enjoyed by Taliban. This is the strategic depth that they are enjoying, that they can go between, across this border, go after whoever, and then come back.
Let me ask you this. Do you think? Riaz has said that Pakistan has not been supporting Afghan Taliban.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this?
Well, first of all, tell me who is Pakistan?
Pakistan is the state of Pakistan, which is intelligence agencies to the state. What is it?
No, this is not one thing. You describe many different things.
According to Petraeus,
Yeah.
the ISI and the army is not supporting
So
them.
is army and the ISI supporting Afghan Taliban
That is
or not?
exactly. I mean, that is exactly where we see things wrong. That there is some reason that some people are protected and they are not. The army is not going after them. So what can you say about the affairs?
So the fact that they're not going after them means they're supporting them.
Well, I mean, who knows?
What if they can't do anything about them?
Yeah.
What if they don't want to start another insurgency? They already have multiple insurgencies going.
So-
That's the argument that Petraeus is making. That it will start just another insurgency, and they don't have the forces to deal with it.
But
they're stretched.
the insurgency in
So,
Pakistan.
but we
Go ahead.
hear all this time, from the Pakistan army that it is in complete control of things and everything is great. We can
Okay.
control. So then if they are not in control, they should say that. The army should really say
let me get to the
that-
heart of Asia.
Yeah.
What Ashraf Ghani said about those $500 million.
Yeah.
He said spend this money on bringing peace to Afghanistan. Do you agree with
First
this?
of all, I don't even get this. Pakistan is a recipient of aid. So how is one beggar giving to another beggar? What is going on here? Is that yeah?
Well, India also receives aid
India,
and gives aid.
lots
Many
of
countries do
countries
that.
receive aid.
This
They
is
can
not
give-
unusual.
This is not unusual, yeah.
This is
You don't give aid because you have a lot of money. You give aid because you have a strategic interest. Both India and Pakistan are heavily in debt.
Yeah.
Their
So-
level of
so
debt
let
to
me ask
GDP
you-
ratio is about the same. They both borrow money.
Yeah.
But question is not this. Question is,
Yeah.
do you agree with this statement? Because that particular statement created lots of resentment in Pakistan.
Yeah. Well, it does not matter, if it was resented by, whoever. The main thing is this, that the biggest player in the affairs of Afghanistan is Pakistan. If Pakistan is unstable, if Pakistan has all these religious, fringe elements just running free, then this is going to be a problem for Afghanistan. So yes, the money is better spent in controlling terrorism in Pakistan and not giving any sanctuary to those elements who go. and
So
operate.
you find it a fair statement.
Of course.
So what Modi and what Ashraf Ghani said was a fair statement.
I don't know. I don't know who said what. I'm just hearing these second-hand reports from these newspapers. I have to really read the actual.
Oh, this is the newspaper has quoted what
No,
they said.
this is
Okay,
still-
but you're
yeah.
saying you agree with this statement.
Who will not? How can you have any kind of development? How can you say that? Okay, go
No,
ahead
but
and
what
start
the
making.
Riaz Haq is saying something. Riaz Haq is saying he is falsely accusing Pakistan for funding or protecting Afghan Taliban.
Yeah.
Right, Riaz Haq?
Yeah.
This is
but-
what they're
Yeah,
falsely
let me,
accusing
let, me,
Pakistan.
let, me,
Yeah.
let me explain a little bit more. Make sure you understand the point. At the conference, Modi and Ghani both said Pakistan is entirely solely responsible for all of the problems in Afghanistan. And the response from Sartaj Aziz, which I agree with, was that this is an oversimplification of the problem. And what Sartaj Aziz said essentially has been supported recently by three different sources.
Okay.
Number one, you had Kabulov saying, no, it's not that simple. There are other forces that are there. Second, the U.S. commander in Afghanistan today, General Nicholson, said that Russia and Iran are supporting them. And number three, Zamir Kabulov, the Russian diplomat, did not disagree with that. He didn't say that, yes, we're not support. What he said was that we see the Taliban are a local force. They have, they have a grievance. They want to be a part of the government, and it's fair. What is the real problem right now is the outsiders who are creating problems there, which is particularly, he mentioned Daesh, the ISIS group.
Ali.
No, pretty much everything has been said, but the main thing is that this heart of Asia conference is really not going anywhere unless Pakistan has its own house in order. And I think that without that, it's not going to happen.
It's not Pakistan alone. That's the point.
Yeah, obviously we can only talk about Pakistan, and we see, this is not a country that we don't know about. We are from Pakistan, we know
But what
how
about
things
Afghanistan
are.
itself? Why don't Ashraf Ghani put his house in order?
Well, that's exactly what he's saying, because...
Oh, he's saying, I cannot put my house in order because Pakistan is supporting
Somebody else is
Taliban.
responsible for it.
Yeah, so it is not 100% that he cannot do, yes, you can say...
He
that
cannot
this
put blame on
Yeah,
others, right?
you can
He has
say-
to take the blame himself as well.
Well, the thing is
Right.
this, that large portions of Afghanistan are outside the writ of Ashraf Ghani government right now. and the areas that are closer to the Pakistan border, if they are not in control of Ashraf Ghani's government, there's only one reason for that, and it is that these people are enjoying, freedom, amnesty here on this side of the border. If they are, if this is happening far away, in close to the border of
that's fine.
Pul Sharqi and all those places, then definitely it is something that Ashraf Ghani is responsible for.
Okay, question number one, Razak, to you. I'm gonna wrap this show. First of all, do you agree with this statement? Second, the question number two becomes: Ashraf Ghani was a supportive of Pakistan. He supported Pakistan. He came to Pakistan. He supported, the Pakistan's narrative in a way, and he wanted to work together with Pakistan to bring peace in Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan. What happened? What made him transform from a good Ashraf Ghani, which was a good for Pakistan, to now a bad Ashraf Ghani for Pakistan?
It's failure. See, when a country is failing...
But answer my first question.
If a country is failing to do what they need to do, they have to find somebody else to blame it. United States is blaming other countries for failure in Afghanistan. Ashraf Ghani is blaming other countries for failures in Afghanistan. That's what's happening right now.
But
this is like shifting the blame for your own failures to somebody else.
But he's telling otherwise. He's saying the reason we are failing is because Pakistan is protecting.
It's shifting blame. That's what he's doing.
Okay, what do you agree with this statement that Pakistan has to put its house
absolutely. See, that's the thing. That's what Zamir Kabulov was saying. That if you could continue to play this blame game, that hey, this guy is doing it or that guy is doing it, I'm not doing anything. Okay. There's really no solution to the problem.
Okay.
The only solution to the problem is a regional solution in which all of the players who have a stake in the game are represented. And that includes Afghanistan, that includes Iran, that includes Russia, that includes the Taliban.
Okay, time to wrap up. Ali, thank you so much. Riazak, thank you so much. Audience, thank you for watching Viewpoint Overseas, and as I always pray towards the end of the show that we hope there are no unfortunate incidents by the time we do our next show. Take care. Continue watching Viewpoint from Overseas.